In a recent revealing interview with George R.R. Martin, it came to light that he and House of the Dragon showrunner Ryan Condal have an abysmal working relationship and haven't been on the same page about the direction of the show for some time now. While the dispute isn't all that surprising given the extensive differences between the HBO series and Martin's original Fire Blood text, it's a disappointing revelation nonetheless. In Martin's candid interview with The Hollywood Reporter, he highlights just how complicated things have become behind the scenes with Condal. While his account of things clearly portrays Condal as being responsible for the rift, it's been pretty obvious to fans since the very beginning that something is off. And unfortunately, Martin has nobody to blame but himself. Martin sold his rights to complain about HOTD's future. The dispute between Ryan Condal and George R.R. Martin isn't even a little bit surprising given Martin's history with television adaptations of his stories. Yet Martin paints a picture of the situation as if he didn't learn a single lesson from Game of Thrones or his relationship with showrunners D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, which feels extremely relevant to the situation at hand. Fans will remember a similar trajectory leading eventually to a strained relationship between Martin and D.D. as Game of Thrones plot extended past what Martin had published in the A Song of Ice Fire fantasy series. The reality is that none of these showrunners were selected by traditional means, and Martin was able to convince HBO of their legitimacy. Condal would likely never have even been seriously considered for a Fire Blood adaptation without Martin's express approval and recommendation, and HBO and Warner Bros. Had zero obligation to even allow him to choose the showrunners in the first place, but they did anyway at the show's peril. "I hired Ryan," Martin says, and it appears the irony isn't entirely lost on him. Despite having sold his rights to have any say in the writing on the show at all, Martin was still allowed to handpick his preferred showrunners. Further, George took Condal's side in the Season 1 feud between Condal and previous co-runner Miguel, emboldening Condal to take the show where he wanted. Fans have long been questioning Martin's judgment. The most recent revelations about the behind-the-scenes goings-on at House of the Dragon confirm the sentiment fans have been echoing for years now. Simply put, if Martin wants adaptations of his work to follow his narratives faithfully, he can't rely on handshake agreements with people he considers trustworthy. Martin chose to sell the rights to his IPs, relinquishing any real negotiating power he could have had in the process. While House of the Dragon's writing and narrative direction have completely diverged from established canon and more or less become a Condal fan FIC adaptation, it took years of Martin continually failing to learn from his mistakes for us to end up here. Which is exactly why fans have a hard time sympathizing with Martin as well, with Reddit users like Polarizing Kabul saying that he either needs to let it go and let Condal do his own thing and accept it's not going to be a one-to-one adaptation of his work, while he gets back to writing, or he needs to stop approving these things. Subscribe to the newsletter for sharp adaptation coverage. Get deeper context on TV adaptation decisions like those behind House of the Dragon. Subscribe to the newsletter for focused coverage, thoughtful analysis, and clear breakdowns of showrunner choices and how they reshape beloved source material. Subscribe. By subscribing, you agree to receive newsletter and marketing emails, and accept Valnet's terms of use and privacy policy. You can unsubscribe anytime. Other fans, such as Tasha 2701, aren't buying that Martin is the victim here. Same way as got went in the final seasons, the man gave up his rights to both TV shows and didn't think much about it until after the writers of said shows butchered things. The whole situation is unfortunate, but was also somewhat preventable, and while it's easy to lambaste Condal for butchering Martin's work, Martin is just as much to blame for the show's failures. That said, it's important to note that fans aren't necessarily getting the entire story. In a since-deleted Not a blog post last year that was meant to be one of a 6-part laundry list of complaints about House of the Dragon's various issues, Martin was put in check by the powers that be. With the HBO adaptation of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms set to release this weekend, fans have their fingers crossed that Martin has better luck this time around. Your rating: close 10 stars, 9 stars, 8 stars, 7 stars, 6 stars, 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star. Rate now 0/10. Leave a review. Your comment has not been saved. Like, followed House of the Dragon TVMA drama action fantasy 8 10,273 8. 5/10 release date August 21, 2022. Network HBO cast: see all. Matt Smith, Prince Daemon Targaryen, Fabian Frankel, Esser, Kristen Cole. Where to watch: close. Where to watch streaming by powered by Expand Collapse.